Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. And of course, breaking news. Well, breaking. It was a couple of hours ago. I was at work when it came out. Of course, Kalvin Phillips to Manchester City has broke on the show a couple of weeks back. Is now moved to Manchester City. There's a lot of chat about the fee. We'll get into all that. Don't worry. We'll get into what we think about the move. I've seen a lot of difference of opinion on social media from fans. Make sure you get your chats in. We'll get them answered. I've seen, some not happy that he's going to Lancashire. Full stop. I don't think City fans are very happy with the move. Quite a lot of them. Spoke to a friend who's big in that scene, and he says a lot of people are not happy with the move, which I find mad. But we know win them over. There's loads to digest. There is loads for us to go through. But basically, they've reached an agreement. An agreement's been reached. Apparently, he's already agreed personal terms with Manchester City. As we know, this is why, when we see reports of agents, etc., talking and pretty solid reports, and people say, until it comes out officially, it's nothing and all that sort of stuff, it's done, right? We believe that to be the case. He's reached an agreement on personal terms. Maybe that was done towards the back end of the season. Apparently, he's turned down other clubs as well to go work under Pep. So you'd imagine there was quite a few knocking at the door. We know of PSG's interest. I think the PSG stuff was more engineered by Radrizzani and his pal over at Paris. But, I know Tottenham held an interest and have done for a good few years, even when we were back in the Championship, maybe just looking at him. So you can imagine a lot of people or a lot of clubs' representatives will have sounded him out to see if he'd be game for a move. We know that Manchester United held an interest, for example, and that was shot out of the water. Obviously, Spurs get Basuma, etc. But by all accounts, he's turned down the potential offer of other clubs, and his heart was set on City. So you have to think about that when thinking about the fee as well, because if Kalvin said, no, I want to work under Pep and that's it, then that means when Leeds go to the bargaining table or the, to get the deal over the line, they've got less of power in that respect, because I know a lot of people are unhappy with the fee, myself included, but, we don't know officially what that is. We're just hearing reports. Apparently, the Athletic, David Ornstein, who gets it bang on, said City are poised to pay 42 million with the potential bonuses valuing 3 million. Now, if 42 million is that fee, it's a joke, right? It is a joke. Like, if that's signed, sealed, delivered, that's a joke. I said when it was first mooted around the 40-odd mark that I'd be unhappy with anything under 50. I think 50 is a fair price, 50 to 55. I do. People would disagree. But even 49 doesn't sound right. I think it's just because it's in the 40s. We've got to remember that back in 2002, when Rio went, he went for 30 million. Well, now, however many years past, 20 years past that, and the real jewel in our crown, him and Rafinha, England international, England player of the year, etc., the plaudits go on. The fact that we only then get an extra 15 million on something on a record transfer outgoing that was broken back 20 years ago, so it doesn't sit right. So that was from David Ornstein. Fabrizio Romano said Man City will pay 42 million. Again, he normally gets it bob on. Overall deal close to 50 million with add-ons. So that's more like the figure you'd imagine. We're hearing from the Leeds United side, or from the Yorkshire press, Graham Smith, Joe Donoghue, etc., that they believe the deal will be worth 50 to 55 million. Plus Darko Jabi going the other way, coming our way. Now, what you have to think about when you think about that, it's from the Yorkshire press. So their contacts are in Leeds, are in Yorkshire. And Leeds will want to spin this best way possible. Whether the information that's been fed to Graham, I believe, why would he? Obviously, he's reporting what he's been told, right? But he's saying Leeds believe it to be more between 50 to 55. That I can accept. I can accept that. I think it's a decent price for his age. The position that he plays, you could argue he's more replaceable than a Rafinha. He's not as X-factor as Rafinha. Of course, he's vital to Leeds United. What's he worth to Leeds United? Of course, he's worth more than that. But we all accept, look, Leeds United didn't sign either of these players on a new deal. I think the club were open and willing to let these players go. I've said that for a while. A lot of people disagreed. They're not going anywhere, etc. Sometimes when you put, your videos out there, you read the comments, people think you're talking rubbish or whatever, but that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but it was clear it was going to happen. I'm just hoping it's more towards the 50 to 55 million. When that deal's done, we'll get the nuts and bolts of it, won't we? Because we're having a number of different journalists all reporting different fees. Now, naturally, you gravitate towards the negative part. All of us do it, right? 40 odd, are you having a laugh? Get that. If it is down there, it's not acceptable, It isn't acceptable. And, you could be looking at, if we get what we want for Rafinha, about 100 million going for these two players over the next week or so. I think Leeds United want both deals done before the start of pre-season, and they want their new players in. I think it'll be the same for the clubs that will be trying to pursue our players, i.e. City will want Kalvin in. Cucurella will get done now in the next couple of weeks, and that'll be City done. Cucurella, Kalvin, Haaland, done. That's how you do business, I guess, innit? And Leeds have improved the way in which we're going about the transfer window, for sure. You have to say that in terms of incomings. We knew now with a lot of the players that we've been linked to, Charles CDK, Gakpo, Adams, Kamara. These were only coming in if outgoings happened, yeah? So the outgoings have started now. It's funny, me and James were talking about it today on the transfer window, what would happen, and he said it's that sort of deal that'll be getting done in the background, and it'll all happen within a day. Well, it happened today, and within a couple of hours, boom, deal done. Not messing around. So it was clear things were going on behind the scene. That's why we see all these links to the players. It's the same with Rafinha. I don't want to jump too far ahead because this is about Kalvin, but Fabrizio Romano's reporting that Arsenal and Tottenham are still working on Rafinha. Barcelona, no fresh bid as of now. No one's reached an agreement with Leeds yet, asking £65 million fee. And that's even stronger now after the Kalvin deal. So Leeds United have got money in the bank in a sense with Kalvin, so they can say, no, we've let Kalvin go. He's gone. We got X amount for him. You want Rafinha, you have to pay the 65 million. Again, I can see CDK apparently doesn't want it. I have it from a very, very, very reliable source that people in Belgium close to CDK are saying he wants to move to Italy. So it looks like that one could be done, which is disappointing. I'll do a video on that stuff later, but I have it on a very, very, very reliable source that he doesn't want that move, which is disappointing. But, we have to move on from that. This is about Kalvin, right? And let me say first and foremost, which I know, I've been watching all the other content creators. Big shout out All Leeds TV, big shout out Jack, big shout out KG, the ones that have done their videos so far. I've watched them. And I think we all agree that we're all happy for Kalvin, Really, really happy for Kalvin. He deserves it for me. You know, he deserves that move to a top 6 side, and he deserves to play Champions League football. This is what I mean. And we sort of have to accept where we are, that England's Player of the Year, or a player that was a mainstay in the heart of the midfield that got us to a European final, and will be a mainstay in the midfield during the World Cup, was always going to have suitors. Yeah, he was always going to have suitors. So we can accept that and almost like want him to go on and do well for me. I see a lot of people saying, oh, it's still, genuinely, there's arguments on my Instagram about it being Lancashire and therefore it's still red. It's still the red rose and therefore that he's done. Come on now. I mean, that's a bit too much for me, personally. I get the War of the Roses and that, but he's gone to Manchester City. Like, I don't think it's that deep. For me personally, there may be others. Again, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Make sure you do like the video as well, like the people in the chat are asking. If you could do that for me, it'd be greatly appreciated. There's over 500 of you watching, 102 likes. So if we can like the video, that'd be great. So yeah, there's some even unhappy that he's just moved across the Pennines, but I think we have to accept that you know, he was always going to move. I'm glad that it's to City. Personally, I wouldn't have minded Liverpool or City. I said that anywhere else, you know, not for me. But he deserves to be playing at the top. I mean, this time, and I said this a couple of weeks back when we mentioned it, I remember having a discussion with Oscar about it as well. I also did it on the midweek fix. There could be a scenario, and this is big if, but there could be a scenario that this time next summer, right, Kalvin could be a Champions League, Premier League, and a World Cup winner. Yeah? Which is insane. So for that alone, I'm like, yeah, man, because the guy gave us everything, right? Let's not forget that first season in the Championship, he could have moved on. If it weren't for Granny Val, maybe he would have. But ultimately, he stayed put. He could have gone to Villa, which would have been a good move for him. They'd just been promoted to the Premier League. You know, they could have given him more money than what Leeds were paying him. Let's not forget, he wasn't on great wage at Leeds. And whatever Jill Savile, England aren't winning the World Cup. I know. You know me, but yeah, okay. So Champions League and Premier League. But that is a definite scenario with Haaland in that side. The guy could have a Premier League, a Champions League, even an FA Cup. What I'm saying, he's going to win things, right? And he will do that. And I want him to. Do you know, I want to see his hands on the Premier League trophy if Leeds can't win it, which we know we can, right? Jack says, sorry, Joe, Wales are winning the World Cup. You won't even get out of the group, son. Clip it up. Famous last words. Yeah, so I want him to go do that. I can't lie. Of course, I'd prefer him to stay, but I also have come to terms with the fact he's not. You know, it's like I got picked up from work and I got in the car and I said to my missus, I said, Kalvin's gone. She went, but you knew, man. You know what I mean? You can prepare for it. We knew. And I think we were all accepting of the fact, especially this week. Like we spoke about it, right? You got to ask yourself the question. I've seen a lot of the fan base sort of turn over the last 24 to 48 hours saying, right, if they're going, let's get them gone so we can then start to improve the squad, you know? Because, okay, we can't improve them on an individual basis. The players that we bring in will not be better than these individuals, but we can improve the overall Premier League squad. And I've definitely seen a swing in the fan base and in my comments saying, right, let's get them gone now then. In a sense, you know what I mean? Like a case of, right, let's get them moved so we can now go. About the new contract as well, I've seen a comment come in there from Cole Breeze. Kalvin was having a change of agent, wasn't he? From Kev Sharp to maybe a new agency firm. I don't know if that's gone through. This new agency firm also managed or brokered the deal for Jack Grealish. I think he's gone under that same agency, I believe. So that may have been why a deal was scuppered. But I'd argue as well that you've got to remember Kalvin and Rafinha will have been tapped up months ago. Leeds were looking destined for the drop, let's not forget. So if Leeds had have gone down, Rafinha and Kalvin would have probably gone within days. A bit like when we stayed up, we signed Aronson. Done. Bye. Yeah? I believe Raphinha and Kalvin would have had these deals in terms of what they're going to be paid, how long they're going to be paid for, etc. already done. I brought it back to that clip that we seen after the last home game of the season from Brighton, when Kalvin and Raphinha were the last two players on the pitch, when Kalvin's family was coming on the pitch and taking penalties. And it weren't just his mum or his missus, it were his full family. They were saying goodbye. You know what I mean? We could all see that. Some people didn't want to accept it, but we could all see it. That's not normal. Okay, having your family walking around the pitch with your kids, waving to people, etc. That is, but not having your full family. You know, your second cousins and your cousin brothers and everything like that. Do you know what I mean? And that's what that was. Yeah, KG, see you Sunday. Big up. Thanks for tuning in, bro. I will be doing a live stream with KG lunchtime, about 12:15. So join us for that. And we've got loads to talk about now, of course. So yeah, nice one for watching, brother. JT in the comments as well. Shambles of a price tag. Make sure you head on over to JT's channel and subscribe. He'll probably be reacting soon. I know JT was pretty big on wanting close to what like Declan Rice was, etc. So, you know, I wasn't on that. I said more about the 50 to 55. I think a lot of look, we need to see what's going to come out in the wash, don't we, over this 40 odd, 42 plus, right? So it's 42 million apparently, with 3 million on add-ons, which takes it up to 45. And then we've also signed this player at 5 million, or brokered a deal that means that it'd be worth 5 million. So therefore it takes us up to 50 possibly. Do you know what I mean? Possibly. Just on this kid as well. What also I was frustrated with as well. Where was James McAtee? Where was Romeo Lavia? What happened to them? Romeo Lavia, the next Fernandinho, James McAtee, the Salford Silver, they're calling him. Dems I could get along with. But I don't know this kid. I've never heard of him. I'm not saying he's a bad player, not for any stretch of the imagination. Darko Diaby, I think, or Giabi. I'll say Diaby. Darko Diaby. He arrived at just a bit on him. He arrived at Manchester City as a 14-year-old in 2018, and he signed from Millwall for 300,000. That's quite a lot for a 14-year-old. So he's clearly got talent. But there's also a reason as to why City have let him go. Yeah, there's also a reason why City have let him go. So it's clear that when we were discussing this deal with City, we were looking at McAtee, we were looking at Lavia, and maybe this 5 million we've got Diaby for, they were saying, well, if you want these, you're going to have to pay X amount. Do you know what I mean? Probably blew out of the water. But he's back onto Diaby. He's a teenager, featured regularly in centre midfield for City's development squad. He's an England under-18 international. He still hasn't made his professional debut, but boasted an impressive goals record from midfield in the under-18 Premier League with 9 goals in 22 appearances. And we're hearing on Twitter from a person who watches, City at a lower level. Leeds United are signing a wonderful talent and class young man. If you're building an ideal number 8 in a lab, you'd come up with something like him, they're saying, which I don't know if I can agree with when we had other... I mean, for me, what happened to Lavia and McAtee? That's all I'm saying. Where were them two? Do you know what? I would be more accepting of this figure if Romeo Lavia was coming our way as well. Because you've got a player there with long-term potential to maybe be better than Kalvin and plays in his position and plays in a similar role. Do you know what I mean? So I'd have liked that. I was well on board with the Lavia one when I did that video. I was well excited by that as a potential signing. But look, 5 million, however it's engineered, it's a lot for a player with no senior appearances. Right? Joe Donoghue mentioned this, and they did an article earlier on in the week about how the price of under-21 players are now going up. Maybe it's due to the fact that, a lot of these Premier League clubs are hoovering up all the best young talent, and therefore, okay, might not make the grade at City, but we'll sell him to another Premier League club. There's a lot of things happening. But Joe Donoghue says, like, when Leeds come knocking, you can bet the prices quoted for Lavia and McAtee were massive. And they probably were. But it's obviously, for me, Diaby has been used as some sort of make weight, as we assumed Lavia or McAtee would have been. I'm just a little bit disappointed with it because I don't know much about him, and this isn't anything on him. Like, you know, he could turn out to be a steal, but you know, we'll see. My good friend who's pretty well connected at City, he believes Phillips 40 and add-ons, Darko 5 million. He's told me that a lot of City fans don't want him as well, don't want Kalvin, which I think's mad. You're getting a proven England international, a proven Premier League player that's going to deputise for Rodri. Rodri's going to be first choice, goes without saying. But Kalvin's great, isn't he? To have on the bench as a rotation player. Come on now. Can you imagine? That's the game, innit? That's the game. It is what it is. We have to accept it. Christopher says all mugs our way. Yeah, I do think we have been mugged off. Like I said this, let's ensure we don't get mugged off. Like, I don't believe personally it's too far from the figure. It's about 10 million out. 50 to 55, yeah? 50 to 55, I think is acceptable for Kalvin. Where he is not going to sign a new deal, you know, City come knocking. I think that's acceptable. So it's not too far from. It's still, frustrating, but I think 60, 78, we were never getting that for Kalvin. You know, never. I don't think. I mean, players in his position notoriously don't go for an awful lot of money anyway. You know, I'm just gonna just have a look. I'm just gonna try have a look and just see some of the prices because I did this before. You know, Basuma's just gone to Spurs for 25 million. A lot of that is due to his contract, I believe. But you know, Basuma's unbelievable. You know, Basuma's better than Calv, if we're being honest. You know, and I think people will be a little bit more honest. I've seen a lot of. I'm not disappointed, but I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's overrated. He's not that good anyway," etc. Like, let's not do that. Just looking at N'Golo Kante, went for 32 million. N'Golo Kante went from Leicester to Chelsea for 32 million. Do you know what I mean? Players in his position notoriously don't go for massive amounts. That's just my opinion. People will disagree. People will be spewing at the screen, saying what you're talking about, Joe, etc. Sorry, I'm just putting my charger in because I didn't charge my laptop earlier. So yeah, this, you know, and people like mention Grealish, for example, as a thing that people have mentioned in the comments there as well. But Grealish had a release clause. Villa were very savvy, signed him on a new deal and stuck in a huge release clause. You know, Jordan Dix, there you go. They paid 60 million for Rodri. Rodri's alongside Fabinho is the best player in the world in them positions. Do you know what I mean? Let's just have a look at Rodri's transfer fee on here. 56 million, according to Transfermarkt. If you have a look at Fabinho, I don't think he went for an awful lot either, if I'm being honest. When you compare how talented these players are, if you look at Fabinho, 40 million. So really, when you strip it back, have we done that bad? I know we're all disappointed, but Fabinho, 40 million. N'Golo Kante, 32 million. Rodri, what did I say? Rodri was 56, closer to 60. And Rodri's 21. How old is Rodri? Off the top of my head. Let's have a look. Where is he? There we go. 25. What am I talking about? What? 21. But they're younger, right? They're younger than what Kalvin is. Do you know what I mean? So I think when you strip it back and look at that, I can't believe Rodri's only 25, by the way. He looks about 50, doesn't he? T. O'Brien says you're forgetting the English tax though. Got to factor that in for Prem signings. Yeah, that's fair enough, but it's not too far from it. It's not too far from from Rodri's figure. It's higher than Fabinho, etc. So maybe that is that Premier League tax. I don't know. Were people genuinely believing we would get 60 million, 70? I don't think we were ever getting close to that. I'd accepted that fact anyway. If he was on a deal, etc., it's different. You have a bigger bargaining tool, don't you? But yeah, look, it is frustrating. I'm just having a look at my other screen here, just to see. I mean, some of the stuff on social media. I think Leeds Live did an article. Just read a few of them out. What a shocking deal! Ake cost them 50 million a couple of years ago, which is fair enough. But centre back, left-footed, had potential, etc. I don't know how that deal was shaped up. Did they have a release clause? Grealish 100 million last summer. I don't think that's comparative for me personally. Just because he had a release clause, he had a new deal, etc. But then they go on to say, England's Player of the Year, crowning the jewel at the club, and he's letting go for 45 million. It's poor running of the club. But when you compare it with other signings, Rodri, Kante, Fabinho, it's bang slap in the middle of them. Bang slap in the middle. Jill Saville mentions Ben White. Yeah, I think you've got to. I mean, for me, Ben White, ball playing centre back is they're hard to find someone of Ben White's quality, in my opinion. I think again it comes, and Ben White's 24, a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. Kalvin's 27 this year. That's something that has to factor it in. Someone said eternal optimist. I try to, isn't it? You've got to. For me, thanks for the super chats that have got that have come in as well. I will read them out as well. Ben White should have been 60 to 70. Yeah, I mean, anything less than 50 isn't great. Holy Ghost mentions injury record as well. Josh says he classed as injury prone. Again, you've got to throw that in there as well. Seen big parts of last season where he wasn't in the side. Someone says real problem with selling KP and Rafinha is that we'll replace them with gambles. If the gambles don't pay off, we'll be down next year. We have to remember that that's where we are. We're in the gambling business in terms of where we are as a football club. For me, personally, because Rafinha was a gamble. Strout was a gamble. Melier was a gamble. Sometimes they don't come off, sometimes they do. That's where we are as a football club. You have to take these gambles. When you look at a Charles CDK, I don't even know why I try. Cody Gakpo, all these players that we're really excited about. The reason these players don't go straight into the top sides is because they don't need to take gambles, because they've got the money that can go get the players that are oven ready. These players that come to the Premier League that are on the cusp, it's clubs like Leeds United that bring them. Brighton, Palace taking players from the Championship. West Ham, the same to an extent before they hit the trajectory. And then when they do really well, the top clubs come and just feed on the carcass. It's how the world works. It's how the world works in football, and we have to accept that as fans. What we don't have to accept is the board not getting the correct fees. Now, if, for me, the fee is between 50 to 55, which has been what's reported by the YEP, I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. Like I've mentioned, you think about Fabinho, Rodri, and Kante, all elite. There's only one of them went for more than what we've got for Kalvin. So when you look at it like that, it gives you food for thought. It does, right? It sets the wheels in motion when you think of it like that, churning on it. Folks, we've got over 700 people watching, which is amazing. Thank you so much for all your support. Make sure you subscribe and get your comments in, and do like the video as well. Let's see if we can get 300 likes, please, if you could do that for me. We're going to talk about potential replacements, where the club are going to go next as well with regard to Kalvin, because what Leeds need to now do is obviously, start to look at a replacement. Good point here from Keenan, an Arsenal fan, who says, yeah, if Phillips stayed fit and had a monster season, he would have gone for 75. Maybe there's something in that as well, considering the fact that he's not had a great... he didn't have a great season. He was never here, was he? He was never here. Contract further down the line. Not signing a new deal. And what you've got to remember, folks, as well, which we haven't discussed yet, when these discussions are going on with Kalvin behind closed doors, or however it happens between representatives of football clubs and stuff, the money that he'll have been offered would be mouth-watering. Yeah, I'm aware of the super chats, Dan Bob. I'll get to them. They've been knocked to the side. I will go through them. So thank you for everyone who's mentioned them, and I will get to them. I just want to get these thoughts, and then we'll have a discussion, and then get to your comments and stuff. Just flows a little bit better that way. But I am aware of them, so thank you for everyone who's supporting the channel. It means a lot. The money would be mouth-watering. This is a lad who's, from humble beginnings. We know the stories. He's got a big family, a lot of siblings, cousins, etc. Probably supporting them, girlfriend, etc. So this money is life-changing for Kalvin. And again, Leeds wouldn't have got anywhere close to what he was being offered. Not anywhere close. Let's be honest. Jordan Dix about 150 a week. I don't even know what he was on at Leeds United, but it wasn't anywhere close to that. It was small, really small. Really small. So when them conversations are happening, Pep's getting in touch with you, etc. Maybe and by all accounts, we're being told he's turned down offers from other clubs, and that's from David Ornstein. He wanted to work under Pep. I get that. For me, I was speaking, like I said, to my friend who's a City fan. He makes Alan Cooper 40k. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to say it, so I was like, I'm sure it's 40k, but then people might laugh at me. But it's 40k. I was told that about 40k. You're now like tripling that, yeah? Let's say. So for me, Kalvin's the perfect fit for City in the sense that they look for certain characters. They have certain training regimes. They have certain weight measures that are required in order to join with their football club. Exactly. It's just very much Bielsa-ish, apart from Bielsa-ish with winning titles and leagues and trophies and that as well. Do you know what I mean? Like he's the... If you had a Pokemon, Pep would be the next one out of Bielsa, right? The next level up. So he fits that. That's seamless, you know what I mean? And he'd have wanted that move, and no one begrudges him that. I don't think any league. Well, I've seen them begrudge him it actually, which really, really shocked me. But there are 95% of the fan base won't begrudge him this move. When he's beating Manchester United and pulling out the Leeds salute alongside Haaland, I don't know. Like I can watch City next season now when I do my watch-alongs and watch Kalvin spray a ball out wide to a Haaland who beats Maguire on the turn and makes it 1-0 and be okay with that, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy for Kalvin. I'm happy for Kalvin. I'm happy for his family, for his missus, everything, man. Because I love him. I think we all love him. 100%. The fee's frustrating at 40-odd million. It should be 50 to 55. Hopefully the YEP's reporting is correct at 50 to 55. But again, like's been said, there'll be a lot of, I guess, it's narrative in it. They can feed the Yorkshire side of it, their narrative, when they speak to whoever they speak to at the club, the press officer, whoever it may be, Rads, Mooney, whoever it is. Well, I've said, 50 to 55. Yeah. 100 mil. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? No, it's their narrative. Whereas we hear from David Ornstein, who's close to things, he's been told this figure, but also City want to push a certain narrative. So I guess when it's Yeah, Johnny said TalkSport said 42 million. Yeah, they're only reporting on what David Ornstein's reporting. Do you know what I mean? So that's where it originally broke. Then Leeds United are saying this. Yeah. So until it's, I guess, over the line and Kalvin's pictured with the shirt and, you know, it's everywhere, move, and he's had his medical and all that sort of stuff, maybe we'll hear something more. Maybe we'll hear something more. Let's wait and see. Because I don't envisage a time where in January, Leeds United, there were no offers. Let's just say that. It was just conversation. Like, there were no offers in for Kalvin. It was more West Ham sort of trying to appease their fan base to make it look like they were making moves for Rafinha and Kalvin to appease their fan base because they did no business. But the figures around that time were 50 million. So let's hope that the club, I mean, no official bid went in, so it's BS anyway, isn't it? But it would be mad if a bid went in for 50 and we rejected it in January and then sold him for less in the summer. But I just don't know. I don't know how the club. Yeah, Sirux 88 says roughly works out at 55 million. I'm hearing. I hope that's right, mate. 50 to 55 million, and I'd be okay with that. Sporting, good friend of the channel, always comments, says this season will end up in disaster. Try being positive, but how can you get positive with a bunch of chances? Look, come on, we were all over the moon just 20, and we were all over the moon 20 to 48 hours ago when all these sick players were linked. We knew that in order for them to come in, Kalvin would have to go. It's now real. Kalvin's leaving. We're all dealing with that fact. We're not happy with the fee, etc. But in a couple of days, it'll all be good. We'll get players in. Yeah. Let's talk about a potential replacement, or who I believe is the number one replacement, right? I've discussed I think we've covered enough of the City deal. It's either 42 million with 3 million on add-ons plus Jabby, which could take it up to that 50 million Jabby, the 18-year-old coming our way. Or it could be 50 to 55. Maybe Leeds United are saying it's worth 50 to 55 because we're getting this and then we're getting these add-ons and then we're getting the player as well who's valued at 5 million. I don't know. I know Phil here reported it was separate to this deal. It'll all come out in the wash in the next coming days. Right? It'll all come out in the wash in the next coming days. But either way, he's gone for between 40 to 55, right? Somewhere around that. Yeah, somewhere around that. I don't think any fee everyone would have been overly happy with, to be honest. So it is what it is. He's moving on. Kalvin's moving on. We have to, come to terms with that. I think a lot of us had, but when it actually happens, you're like, you're annoyed, frustrated. The board's this, the board's that. It's what it is. We said they've done so well this window so far. So you're talking of bringing in Aronson straight away, Rasmus Christensen, and Mark Roca. Yeah. Alzheimer says this is a big blow to Leeds and smacks of a lack of ambition. I don't think it's a lack of ambition. I don't agree with that standpoint, bro. I don't think it's a lack of ambition. We have to recruit, right, and show ambition with the recruitment. We're not just if we got rid of Kalvin and didn't replace him, then yeah, I hear it. But we're not going to do that. We are going to replace Kalvin. Yeah, my laptop's just gone on dark mode. I was like, oh, my laptop's breaking. So it's all about who we recruit. We said this recruitment has to be bob on. If you want to follow a certain model, Leicester model. They sold Kante, they sold Mahrez, they sold Maguire. Leeds United are now in that first cycle, really. For me, I said this when covering Leeds United, doing this. This has felt like the most Premier League window to me because Leeds United are looking at proper players and we're also going to lose some of our jewels in the crown. It feels like we're properly into the mix now after being 2 years in, riding the crest of the wave. First season, largely the same squad, made a few dud signings, hanging, clinging on for dear life at the end of it. Now it's like we're in. Justin Thomas says, O'Brien back up. O'Brien, no, I want better than that now. O'Brien as a squad player, fair enough, but let's have a think of replacements then. I'll tell you what, before we do that, we'll go to your super chats because a lot of them are on replacements. A lot of questions coming in about replacements. So thank you each and every one of you for doing that. I'm just having a quick scan of social media before I go through them to see if there has been any more news, because I like to keep my finger on the pulse and all that jazz. I tell you, on my Instagram, on my post, they're all having an argument on there. Someone's kicking off about Lancashire and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, I'll leave them to do that. Be nice. Right, okay. So we'll go to your super chats and do it in order of when they came in. Let's have a look. Oh, they are in order. Over 700 people watching as well, by the way, which is amazing. I think that might be, apart from my watch-alongs, up there with the highest numbers I've ever got. So thank you for that. There's over 300 likes. Let's see if we can get that up to 500. Let's do that for us, please. If you could, that'd be great. Right, let's have a look at these super chats. So Holy Ghost says $4.49 to top up the KP fee. Only joking. Good luck to Phillips. Recruitment is key now in big bold capital letters. Big shout out, my man Holy Ghost. That is the thing, isn't it? Recruitment has to be right. Recruitment has to be right. Leicester got theirs right, you know, in terms of the players that they brought in. If you look at Fofana, who they paid 30 million for, what a player he is, and he'll go to Real Madrid for about 80 million in a couple of seasons. I've said that for a long time. You know, they've got it right, yeah, and that's why they continue to progress. That's why they won an FA Cup, etc. I do see Leeds United, just as a side point, I do see Leeds United going pretty well in the cups this season. I think Jesse will give it a proper go, whereas Bielsa didn't. Apparently, Arsenal have signed Jesus as well, which is a great signing for them if that's true. Let's have a look. Arsenal and Man City have reached full verbal agreement, deal in place. Arsenal are working on selling. That's 45 million. 45 million for Jesus. We've got that for Kalvin. Jesus is a top player. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to, just looking for the positives, as I always tend to do. Thank you, Malcolm Mudd, for that lovely comment as well. It's good watching. Thanks, mate. That's nice of you. So, yeah, recruitment is key, which moves us on nicely to the next super chat from LUFC 1999. Thank you very much, mate, for your super chat. He says, please not Adams as a replacement. I'm gonna break it to you gently now. I think Adams is that replacement, mate. I do. Now, a lot of people want and prefer more Kamara. This guy on Twitter, man, Juan Martinez, he's dead, man. He just keeps reporting absolute guff. You know, I don't see. I mean, he's got about 400 followers. He's not the guy. He's saying that Leeds have been in direct. I'm not going to read it because I don't believe him. And I'll just get people excited. There's no point. For me, Leeds United's number one replacement for Kalvin Phillips is Tyler Adams. I think Jesse will have a big say along with Orta. You can tell that they are working together because Mark Rocha, for me, is an Orta signing. I've liked him for a long time. Liked him under Bielsa. He comes in. I think Jesse was asked which player he'd like. He said Rasmus Christensen. Rasmus Christensen came in. If Jesse wasn't in charge, would Rasmus Christensen come in? I don't think so. Yeah? I don't think so. Read it, someone says. The read it thing, man, is just... he's saying that we've only contacted... It's everybody... I mean, it's not news. Right, I'll tell you what he said. Leeds have been in direct contact with Salzburg for Mohamed Kamara. They have only shown their interest and have not yet made an offer. Brighton are also interested in signing Kamara. We know this. We know this already. Mo Kamara has been in contact on social media with Leeds and Brighton fans. He knows this. Brighton are leading the race because Leeds are focused on Tyler Adams. But this is what I'm telling you now. That's not breaking news. That's not new. Breaking news was what Fab told us the other day when he said we were after CDK. And then everyone else was like, oh, yeah, they do like him. Yeah, they're on him. Fabrizio Romano gets a lot of stick, but he's normally bob on. I think people get frustrated when he continues to retweet. But whenever you're doing well at something, people want to pull you down. It's just a fact of life. So he gets a lot of stick, but he's killing the game, right? It's facts. So, yeah, he brought the CDK stuff, and then everyone else is like, oh, yeah, we knew about CDK. Yeah, Leeds are interested in CDK. No one knew. No one knew that. No one knew that. But we know about the Tyler Adams things. We've known that. If you remember, my first video after we survived was Jesse stays amid American Revolution. And at that point, I said Aronson, Jesse, and Adams. I said that. The video's there for you. So that we've known. And the reason that we know that is because Adams plays in a similar position to Kalvin. He is at Leipzig. Leipzig want to sell. Jesse is a massive, massive fan of his. Jesse gave him his debut back at New York Red Bulls. He also worked with him at Leipzig when he was second in charge to Ranić. And it was at that point, Jesse, when I did my video on Tyler Adams, when he first signed for them in January, his first game he got man of the match when they beat 4-2 in Dusseldorf 4-0, I think. And then he got injured in April. There are some concerns about his injury record, I will say that. But he got injured in April. But up until that point, they hadn't lost a single game when he was in the side. You know? Now, obviously, he's not out. He's not in the side now. But, you know, and they're willing to move him on. But I think he's the one. Now, of course, a lot of people prefer Mo Kamara. A lot of people want Mo Kamara. He's been likened to N'Golo Kante. He's currently at Salzburg. But I just think Leeds and Jesse prefer Tyler Adams. I think it's an easy move for them to make. I think Tyler Adams will want the move, linking back up with Jesse, coming to the Premier League. He knows Leipzig want to sell him. I think it makes sense. But then what Leeds need to do is also get another. Yeah. They'll need to get another. Now, I thought that other would have been Romeo Lavia. I did. I thought that other was Romeo Lavia. I knew Kalvin was going to go. I seen the Salford Silver McAtee linked, and I was like, nah, it's Lavia. It's Lavia. He was pictured going to Belgium. Yeah, it's Lavia. Doesn't look like that's, you know, all the noises from the City side were they wanted him to stay. Same with McAtee, and that's proved to be the case. I don't even think he'll go out on loan. Maybe he will now, Kalvin did. I'm not sure at which point we might loan him. I don't know. But it'd be involved somewhere in this deal, wouldn't it? It'd be involved somewhere in this deal. So I thought it were going to be Tyler Adams and then Romeo Lavia with Mark Roca, with Forshaw, with Click, with Dallas coming back in the side. And that would be our midfield. Now, what we need to now do is go and replace Kalvin and get another for me. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. For those that are asking me about Conor Gallagher, I got asked about it earlier. Yeah, I'd take Conor Gallagher. You know my thoughts on Conor Gallagher. You know my thoughts on Conor Gallagher. So yeah, any situation where he can come to Leeds United, I'd like that, but he won't. Chelsea will probably look at him pre-season if they don't get it. I mean, I don't know what's going on at Chelsea with this new owner, money-wise, etc. Maybe they'll keep him close. Tuchel does give chances. Did with Chalobah. He had Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the side a lot. He'll probably stay there. Neil says, thanks for all backup DM. No worries, mate. It's all right. I hope you look after him. I think there's a lot of disrespect about Kalvin from City fans at the minute. Not happy with the signing, but I think he will win them round just by his character alone, mate. Just by his character alone. But yes, so in response to that, we went on a bit of a tangent, LUFC 1919. Thanks for your super chat. Please, not Adams as a replacement. I think it will be. If you're still here, mate, and you're still tuned in, let me know who sorry, I'll put my teeth in, who you would prefer as that replacement. Next super chat that came in was Bobby. Thanks, mate. He said, if Raf is worth 65 million, Kalvin is worth 40 to 45 to 50. Yeah, you could argue if you scale it back. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I understand your reasoning behind that, Bobby. Maybe we're getting a little bit frustrated about nothing. Because do you know what? And again, I am aware. I am aware that I do tend or try to look at the positives. I'm not going to lie that, and that's why some people don't like my content. That's fine. You watch what you like, right? So there'll be people watching this frustrated that I'm saying that, but when you actually strip it back and try look at it with a cool head and say, Kante went for this amount, Rodri went for that amount, Fabinho, Rodri, and Kante are the best in there, or up there, or have been at least in the top 3, top 5 in the world. Yeah. So the fact that we're getting 45 to 50 or 55 million is a decent price when you consider what them guys went for. And I think when the dust settles, we might see that. I think wanting 60, 70, 80, it's never happening, man. I didn't think anyway. But again, people will disagree, and that's the whole great thing about football, because no one agrees, isn't it? No one agrees. But yeah, you've got a point there, Bobby. There's a lot of people who agree with you in the comments as well, mate. Thank you so much for your super chat, brother. Toby Ward, super chat. Do you think Tyler Adams is the man to replace KP? I do. I think he's decent. I've been banging the drum. I think someone who I take a lot. There is a lot of people in the Leeds United sphere that I respect and value their opinion. So if they're like spewing about a footballer and saying this, right, this guy knows ball, so I'm gonna side with him. So for example, I put a Cody Gakpo video out on social media, and I won't say where, but someone's reasoning was, who? And the guy went, I know, must be rubbish. He went, if he were any good, everyone would be in but for him. Now, if that's your reasoning for thinking a footballer's good or not is whether or not others are in for him, then that's fine. That's you, right? If you think just because no one else is in for him that makes him a bad player, then that's you. It's like those that last season who told me Conor Gallagher were no good because he played in a relegation side. If you think that's the markings of why a player isn't good, that's you. That's fine. What I'm saying is we all have different ways of looking at things. There are a lot of people that I look to for their opinions, and, I've heard said about Tyler Adams that he will be good. He'll be fine. He is an adequate replacement. There are other options out there that they wish the club would explore who may be better and have a better ceiling that could actually be cheaper. There's Sander Berg's been mentioned, Kamara's been mentioned, Lewis O'Brien, thanks for that, Matt Davis. So there are a number of options out there. Do you know what I mean? It depends on what you like. From what I've read and seen of Tyler Adams, I think it's a good fit. But like people said, there are other options out there. A lot of love in there for Gakpo as well while we were mentioning him. Exactly, but I got told the other day, he's rubbish just because no one... The reasoning was, if you were any good, everyone else would be in for him. That's not how this works, is it? Come on now. Come on then. So Toby Ward, I think he will be the man to replace him. We shall see though, because we were told the other day that apparently he's on the list, but he's not top of the list. I think he is, for me. Here we go. Christopher Junction, thank you, mate. Says turning down 15 Jan, 45 in June is auto. Let's just say about this 15 Jan, there was never a bid. Nothing was ever turned down in January. No bid was actually made. It'll be used with the stick to beat them with, and I guess, but there was no bid made. Simon Jordan, I remember, just dressed it down on TalkSport at the time, saying all they're doing is fluffing their feathers to their fan base because they could have been on for Champions League or Europa League and ended up with the Europa Conference League and bought no players. They needed a striker for Antonio. They needed this. They needed that. Oh, yeah, we're looking at Kalvin, and the fans, quite a large section of the fan base, like, oh, yeah, they're doing business. West Ham were never doing that. So they never turned anything down in January. It was a figure that was mentioned. I think that's unfair to hammer them with. You don't have to accept their current fee now. I get that. But I don't think it's fair to say, well, they turned down 50 in Jan, because that didn't happen. There was no bid coming. And I think I'd argue we couldn't have sold them in Jan. Even if the money was insane, because we'd have gone down. Do you know what I mean? So they were right to do it. And anyone, unhappy about, selling Kalvin for the amount we sold him for, I get all that. But if we'd have kept him another year down the line, probably goes for less, probably runs down his contract, etc. So this is the time they had to sell. Kalvin said, I want to go to City. They've brokered the best deal they could. I asked myself the question, and I did do this when I said about us potentially getting mugged off when I did a deal when I did a video before. I think if this is Daniel Levy, he goes for more. I will say that much. Leeds do have a good working relationship with City as well. The Jack Harrison deal, they're moving that on a further year because of COVID and just paying X amount more. We do have a good relationship with City. Them things do come into play. They do come into play when it's easier to negotiate. So that would have helped City as well. Whereas we've seen how Daniel Levy has been. I bet he's a nightmare to deal with. But from a Tottenham perspective, perfect, because he kept hold of Kane. They've now got Conte. They're now spending, and they've got Champions League. So say what you want about Levy, he's got them where they are in a sense. Does that make sense? Whereas we don't have that, do we? And this is, I guess, the first real test for this regime, because since Rads has been in, him and his team have never had to broker a sale. Have they really? I can't remember anyone they've sold. Because Charlie Taylor, etc., was under Chiellini, wasn't it? Who's he sold? Who we've not wanted to move or who's gone for big price. This is their first real dip in the water in that respect. You know what I mean? So Pontus, Lewis, yeah. But again, Leeds wanted rid. It's different, isn't it? Roof, again, Leeds were happy to move him on because of his contract. And he was broke, wasn't he? He was broken. He couldn't do what Bielsa asked. Of course, he went and done really well in Belgium, and then secondly in Scotland. But Vieira's another one, but I think Vieira sold to fund certain deals, wasn't it? Maybe I'm reaching there, but do you understand where my thought process is? Is like, this has been their first real big thing, hasn't it? Big thing, really. Yeah, this has been the first real big test for them, for sure. Thank you for your super chat, though. Thank you. Jack Clark, they did well out of Jack Clark, actually. That's a great shout, Kane Carey. They did really well out of Jack Clark. The guy's playing at Sunderland, man. Or was, anyway. Oh, bad times. Breaking news. Bielsa won't be returning to Atletico. No way. Athletic de Bilbao. John Ureta has won the presidential election in Bilbao and will appoint Valverde as the new coach. There you go. Don't need tickets for that anymore, do we? Wounded. All that Bielsa content I was looking forward to as well. Oh, no. Well, there you go. He might go somewhere else. That's a shame. It's just all right, Jack. Thanks for tagging me in it, bro. They just got a whole lot worse. Oh, well. Listen, I think we've wrapped up on Kalvin, haven't we? I think we've picked the bones out of it, discussed it enough. Someone says cancel them flights. Exactly, man. That would have been a trip to Bilbao, mate. I'm not going to lie to you. Basque country. Oh, we've got had a super chat come in. Thank you so much, Carlos, all Leeds Armway. Thank you so much for your super chat, brother. He says, evening, pal. Been a while. It has, mate. Where have you been? He says, hope you and the family are well. Doing great, mate. Thank you very much for asking. That's really nice of you. And I hope your family are doing well as well, Carlos. He says, this is pants down and smack your backside fee. England international, 2 years left and in his prime. What I will say, Carlos, if you've just missed, we were looking at other players in similar positions that have gone for similar fees, and N'Golo Kante went for 32 million. Fabinho went for 40 million. And Rodri went for like 52 or 56. 56, was it? But what I'm saying is he's more expensive than a Fabinho. He's more expensive than an N'Golo Kante. People throw in the English tax, but let's not forget that N'Golo Kante went from Leicester, who'd won the Premier League, to Chelsea, and he went for the cheapest. So there's that to factor in and think about. I understand that we're not happy with the fee. 50 to 55 would have been fine. Carlos, I'd love to know from you what you believe the figure should have been. I'd love to know what you feel the figure should have been. But I think when we look at it like that, you know, if it's a position plays a lot, do you know what I mean? And players in his position notoriously don't go for massive amounts. Fabinho 40 million, Rodri and Kante 32. And people said to me earlier, and it's just coming to my mind about English tax. But he went from Leicester Premier League champions to Chelsea, and he went for 30 odd. So maybe when we look at it in the cold light of day, we might say, okay, when you consider everything considered, it's okay. We've got a player coming. He could go on to do good things. You know, if it's 50 to 55 million, which the YEP are reporting, I think we would also be happy. Yeah, Red Jabby, great point. Bruno Guimaraes went to Newcastle last season for 30 odd million. I remember looking at it the other day when I was looking at comparative Rafinha prices, saying, are we asking too much at 70 million? There's only been 2 players in the last 4 or 5 seasons that have gone for 70 million plus, and that was Pepe and Sancho. Everyone else, Jota, 40 million. Ruben Dias, 34 million. So when you actually look at some of the prices, it's like, okay. So maybe we're asking or being a little bit, I don't know. We're new to this game in the Premier League, right? Do you know what I mean? But Bruno Guimaraes, Danny Morris, that is a great shout. I remember looking at that when I was looking at all these different prices. Let me just get it. I think it was 30. Let's have a look. 37. So, and listen, Bruno Guimaraes is unbelievable. He's streets ahead of Kalvin. And he went for 36. So, I don't think we've done that bad. Of course, I'd have wanted 50 to 55. And if the YEP is led to believe to be true, then we've got that, which is a great return for me. Again, you know, people will disagree. And people use Maguire, 80 million, let that sink in. You forget this is Man United. Man United are clowns. Man United paid £50 million for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Don't look at Man United as a yardstick. They're clowns. City wanted Maguire. And when they seen the fees that it were going to, they went, no thank you. Yeah? Fred. Let me tell you, Fred went for crazy money. Let me tell you, Fred. Where is he? Let's have a look. Fred went for 53 million. City also wanted Fred. I remember them discussing it on the Big Six. It's like City were just throwing these bones out there, and then Man United thinking they're in some sort of challenge with City, and then they end up paying over the odds. Fred went for 50 odd million, crazy money, not worth it, never in a cat and else chance. But City wanted him as well. But City, when you consider the amount of money they've got, have gone, no, we're not paying that. Man United, their structure over the last few years is as thick as 2 short planks. Genuinely, we know this, right? They basically paid just short of 100 million to loan Pogba for 10 years and have a terrible time, and then give him back for note. They haven't got a Scooby, right? So I think to make comparisons with the players that they've bought is insane. Don't do it, like, because they're idiots. They'll do anything. Rita Besant with the super chat. Rita, member as well. I know you joined up the other day. I did see it at the start of one of the streams. I totally forgot to mention it once the stream had started. So my apologies for that. But thank you so much, Rita, for supporting the channel. It means an awful lot, and it does go back into the channel. So thank you very much for that. We have over 700 people watching, 456 likes. If we could get that over 500, that'd be right. I see a lot of people saying in the comments, stop talking sense, Joe. But I think what that means is as well, though, is maybe when you think of it like that and try to think of it and maybe take the emotion out of it and try to think about it logically, okay, we don't have to be happy about it, but we can look at it in the context of the full league and what other players are playing and et cetera, and go, actually, is it okay? Is after the initial emotion of it, like how much is it actually more in line with what the rest of the players have went? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, I'm just looking at some of the stuff that's been said about the deal. There you go. See if there's any more breaking news apart from Bielsa being out of work. Maybe he can come back if Jesse messes it up. Yes, Jack. See, this is the thing. This is the thing. I mean, I'm interested to find out what Connor thinks about it as well. I'm interested to see. Like I say, I watch everyone's content. To be fair, I do sample a lot of content from Leeds fans and outside of Leeds, etc. I just do. Like I enjoy it. Interested to. I think he'll be annoyed initially, but then maybe come to terms with it a little bit. KG as well. I've seen his thoughts. I'll be having a chat with KG on Sunday. We'll be doing a live stream on Sunday. We'll probably have loads to discuss. Watch out on the channel. Yeah, Cameron Mitchell says once the emotion drops, 50 million will be seen as a good deal. I think if you were to put it out there, like those that are watching me now, and when you consider, them other fees for them other players, it makes you think a little bit, and I think if everyone else maybe did that and just had a look and thought, right, okay, he's gone for that, it's not that bad, A lot of it's due to position, attacker, strikers, wingers, they all go for top whack, don't they? They all go for top whack, centre-backs go for a premium if they're elite, do you know what I mean? The facts are, I guess it's an unfashionable role. I don't know what it is, but when you consider he's going for more than Kante, etc. Is it that bad? I don't know. Maybe not. I still want 50 to 55, but even I'm like thinking now, I'm like, all right, 45, it might be all right. I don't know. Let's sleep on it. But all I'll know is, like, in the next week or so, I think Leeds United are making mad moves. In the next week or so, we'll be excited because we'll be getting a new player. I just think there'll be a lot of not negativity, a lot of frustration if it's Tyler Adams, and I feel a bit sorry for him. Because I don't want him coming into that. Do you know what I mean? I don't want him coming into that negativity, if that makes sense. But as people have said, Joe, has KP passed his medical? No, not as of yet, but I think he'll get through fine, mate. I think he'll get through fine. That's not a problem. Jack Glennie says, is there any truth in the rumour from Bruges that he's not interested? By all accounts, mate, and I have it on pretty reputable sources. Like I have it sort of almost from the horses, not from the horse's mouth, but like if you think about Leeds United news, that horse's mouth. has basically said that people in Belgium believe that he wants Italy. He wants to go to Italy. So, yeah, it doesn't look like that one will be a mover. Yeah, it doesn't look like it'll be a mover. JT, are you about to go live, brother? Let me know. Let me know if you sat waiting, because I'll let's have a look what's going on in the UEFA. Thank you very much, JT, for your lovely comments as well. He says, top stream, bro, still ready to throw hands with someone if this reported fee isn't bumped up a little bit. What would you be happy with? You know what I mean? What would you be happy with? Bro, let me know. 60 to 70 million people are saying that's heavy though, isn't it? That's heavy, I think, personally. It is heavy, especially when you can. That means they'd have paid more for Kalvin than they did Rodri. Never. Jordan Dick says JT wanted 100 million. I swear he said something like that. Didn't he? You know what he's like? He's a madman. He's a madman. He's a madman, but I love him. Right, okay, let's have a look. Let's see. I think 50 million is fair, says Dale. I think we'll all come round to that thinking, maybe. I think we'll all come round to that million. JT said 100 million would be a fair valuation. Yeah, man. Crazy talk. For his quality, it's not, bro. Rodri went for 40 million less than that. And people say Grealish, but they're different positions. Grealish had a release clause, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and Grealish is an anomaly because, like Kokoff says, they paid for more Grealish than they did for Haaland and KDB. So, just one of them. Look, disappointed now. He will move. We'll see him in the City shirt, etc., etc. Then Leeds will look to the replacement. They'll hopefully bring in two. And then is when the real exciting stuff happens, because we'll then go in for that striker, that exciting talent, Cody Gakpo, a CDK if he decides he wants to come to England. Maybe Kevin De Bruyne will speak to him and say, come on now, come on, G. Maybe he comes. Maybe Kalimawendo comes. Do you know what I mean? No, Mick won't take Vieira back. He's broken. Ronaldo Vieira's broken, I think. RP Astrology says 50 would have done it on the back of a season where he's barely played. Yeah. Luke Thompson says, Joe, the price for Phillips is a complete joke. Right. Luke's just joined, so don't know what we've discussed. Luke, let me know in the comments now, Mr. Luke Thompson. The pressure is on you. I want to know how much you think he should have gone for. Hit me with it. No pressure. I always know stuff, Jack. People just don't believe me, G. Luke Thompson, we're waiting on you, because I'm going to tell you why it's not. Dylan says, I just don't think Tyler Adams is good enough to be a direct replacement for KP. Think Sanderberg would be a better option. I hope it's 50 to 55 million for him personally. That's my preference, of course. More money is all our preference, brother. The jobs and everything, innit? See, I've seen someone on social media say, you know, Kalvin's just another badge kisser that got greedy. That's so unfair. So unfair. Do these people want them to stay at Leeds United for the rest of their lives when they can be offered tripling their wages and also playing in Champions Leagues and that? Come on now. Let's not be unfair. And what I won't have said, which I don't like, which I see all the time, is as soon as the guy goes, it's like, yeah, he's rubbish anyway. Let's not do that either. The guy was the jewel in our crown, gave us everything, bled Leeds. He was our heroes. He is a hero for a lot of your children. He was my hero, and I'm 34. Do you know what I mean? So let's not do this. Let's let him go, enjoy his time alongside Haaland, win Premier Leagues, win Champions Leagues, do the Leeds salute when he's doing it. You know what I mean? I have nothing but love for Kalvin Phillips and want him to go. So let's not do this. Oh, another badge kisser that got greedy. You want him to stay at Leeds United on 40 grand a week? 40 grand a week? When he's going to be offered like 100, 150? Come on now. Right, let's have a look. Luke Thompson. If they're holding out for 65 for Raf, then 60 million for Kalvin. Right. The reason that we're not getting that, N'Golo Kante went for 30, 32. Rodri went for 56. Fabinho went for 40 million. Bruno Guimaraes went for 36. No player's gone in that position for that sort of fee. It's just something we have to come to terms with. Mike TV says, I get leaving for City for money, trophies and so on, but to sit on the bench is a shame. Heavy rotation, bro. City rotate. Pep Guardiola is the fantasy football fans' worst nightmare because he rotates all the time. And there will be situations when him and Rodri will play together. Believe me. There'll be situations when he'll play on his own. One of them might get injured. This isn't him. And listen, him sitting on the bench, he'll still get a lot. He'll still get a hell of a lot of games. He's been trained by the best coach in world football, or definitely up there, second only to Bielsa. But it's a totally different life, man. I can't begrudge him that. The only thing I will begrudge him is wearing them horrible yellow snow booty things he had on. Don't be going on and now you've got some more money. Don't be wearing any more of them, Calv. You did that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Their mix says he stayed for 25 grand a week when Villa were offering him 45k. He's more loyal than we could have asked for. Dylan says, do you think his move will solidify his place in the England squad? Yeah, man. He was already solidified. He was already solidified under Gareth. What I would say, if the manager changed, I wouldn't be so sure if he was still at Leeds. I think they might have looked at it different. Well, but under Gareth for sure. But now that he's at City, he'll get a lot more respect. It's just how football works, man. Football fans. Tell you, man, he'll be the best thing since sliced bread. Although a lot of City fans aren't happy, but you can guarantee 95% of them won't have seen him play. Do you see what I'm saying? Oh, Kalvin, yeah. Should have got Rice. Rice is very good, by the way. I'm not digging out Rice. Anyway, I've been on long enough. I think you've seen me enough. If there's some more breaking news tomorrow, we'll discuss it. Probably will, actually. We'll do it at some point. There's some news I need to cover in there. RAF and CDK. We'll squeeze some out of that. Listen, it's lovely to be able to do this. You don't understand, those that watch me regularly, but me being able to come on and have this chat for you does loads for me here as well. Believe me. So I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you. I want you all to have a fantastic weekend. I want you all to have a great evening. And just have a great day, great life, etc. Right? Honestly, you don't know how much you help me. And this is no cap, no nothing, no BS. You help me so much. You help me no end. So being able to come on here and talk to you all and just chat with you and have a laugh and discuss a topic that I love. It's great. It's great. Bryn says money doesn't. Let me just answer this. Money doesn't always make you happy. Doesn't, mate. 100%. You can be the richest person in the world and not be happy. Very surprised, Joe. But there's a big difference when you're playing football. You make sure. What I will say, okay, money doesn't improve. But if we're doing the same job, if me and you are doing the same job, Bryn, and on some days I probably do it better than you, then I should be paid more than you. Do you know what I mean? If me and you do the same job on a daily basis, Bryn, and you're getting £10 an hour and I'm getting 40 quid an hour, you would say something. And if your gaffer or I turn around to you and went, just carry on digging that hole, Bryn, money don't make you happy. You'd go, no, give me my money. So I think that's a fair analogy. I'm not saying Kalvin never kicked up a fuss, and he could have, right? He could have, but he never. Do you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, in football, he should be getting parity with the rest of his colleagues in and around that England squad. And it's not only that, he's not gone for the money. Kalvin hasn't gone for the money because he'd have gone to Villa. He's not gone for the money. He's gone to work under Pep. He's gone to win things. The money is an added bonus. If Leeds United could offer him the chance of winning things and give him parity with what City had offered him, he would do it. He would do it. Yeah, I agree, Mick. So thank you so much for that, brother. He would do it. Yeah, man. Jeremy says he does right. Bryn says plasterer, mate, hard work. Exactly. If you're a plasterer, bro, and I come in with me, I don't know what's it called? The swivel or something? I don't know. What's that thing called, man? When you go like that? Skimming. If I came in, right, and skimmed the same as you, and I were getting triple what you were getting, you'd be fuming, wouldn't you? You'd be fuming. But nah, I think that's a good analogy. Make sure you get paid well for skimming, the same with other folks. That's what I'll say. That's what I'll say, and that'll do, donkey. That'll do. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a great weekend. I appreciate each and every one of you. As I said earlier, love for the love, and you travel. Nah, that's it. Travel and you skim, don't you? Daily Football keeps saying bye, Cal. Thanks, Cal. Who's Cal? Thanks, Joe. Who's Cal? I was like, are you calling me Joe? My name's Joe. Daily Football just came. Oh, thanks, Cal. Who's Cal? I forgot about him already. He's not even. Who's Cal? Kalvin, yeah. Kalvin. I love that. See, he's gone already, man. You'll all wake up in the morning and they'll be like, oh, did you hear Kalvin go? And you'll go, who? Do you know what I mean? So there you go. We've just bought Jabby, mate. Forget about it. We've just bought Jabby. I love it. Listen, there you go. Who's Cal? Exactly, man. You know. Always here for the laughs. Listen, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Get your comments in. Hit the notification bell. John Crawford, can't believe you're going, Joe. I've just got here. Mate, it's 10:30, man. I've been live since 9. Yeah, it's been a long day, it has. A sad day as well, because Kalvin's going and Bielsa has not got the job that we all wanted him to. Gracias, Joe. Buenas sones, says Duncan. Buenas noches. Right, I will leave now. I've been trying to leave for the last 5 minutes, but I just keep rambling on, don't I? Enjoy your weekend. Look out, because I'm definitely live Sunday, right? I'm definitely live on Sunday with KG. Love having a chat. Straight facts, straight talking. Love it, right? We'll have a chat with KG. Tomorrow, probably do a video on some of the news that's come out tonight on CDK and Rafinha, so make sure you keep it locked there. Yeah, there you go. If it's JT time, if JT's live, head on over to JT, because he'll no doubt be giving his reactions and telling us all he should have gone for 150 bags. But I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Love you all, man. Thank you.